its strength in finding resilience beyond your circumstances. What is up, you guys? I'm Zakia Monet, and welcome to the Finding Your Way podcast, where we share stories about hardships and share ways to not let our circumstances define us. Like you, we're just here to find our way. Welcome to Finding Her Way podcast. My name is Zakia. I go by Zakia Monet on all social media platforms, and welcome to another episode. In this episode, as we do in others, we'll be doing a journal prompt. The journal prompt for this episode will be, how do you like for people to show up for you? And do you care if they do or they don't? So as you can tell, just by that journal prompt, we're going to be talking about the ways people show up for you and like kind of how to not take it so personal. I'm not going to say like I'm a guru on it because I'm still learning how to not take everything personal, but I have learned to come to terms with the way people are and letting them be the way they are without getting so offended about everything, and learning how to move from that person from here on out after whatever occurs. So for me, I would say I've been in a lot of situations to where I always move in love, and I've always been a person who was just, you know, I love to just show love. Like I love to give love. Like I'm a person of love, and even through all the turmoil and all the trauma that I've been through, I still like to give out love and put love into the universe. And I can say even now for me on the journey that I'm on, the spiritual journey, I'm learning how to not take things so personal and realizing people are who they are. Everybody is not going to be a giver or a natural lover like you are. Everybody's not going to be able to tend to your emotions or tend to your feelings the way you would do for them. And I have to realize and understand it and still move in that way no matter how people show up for me. I just know how to carry that person from here on out. I know not to do certain things, but I still, you know, like I still like to, you know, show love. I think I was reading, or I think I saw on an episode of the Know For Sure podcast where B. Simone was just talking about how she tends to forget a lot of the trauma that she's been through and a lot of bad things that people has done to her. So I'm not gonna say that I forget a lot of things, but I do kind of like, I'm kind of blind to the bullshit. Like it's just like I don't know. In the back of my mind, I'm still thinking about it, but I just really don't move off of hate. I just don't, like, unless you just like a fucked up person, then like that's what the issue is. But for me, it's just not that. Even when somebody has done things multiple times to me, it's just always like I'm always trying to think about like what that person has been through to cause them to be how they are today. And so I think that's just how I take things. And I don't know if that is particularly for everybody. I don't know if that comes with growth. I don't know if that comes with maturity. But I think the older I get, the more I know, you know, like how to move with certain people. And also, I know not to be around certain people. Like if I don't want certain, like if I know how a person is, I'm just not going to put myself around it. I'm just not going to do it. So I think that's just something that I'm learning to do as I get older and as I grow and as I mature more, because I still got some ways with me. I still, like, I'm not a perfect person. I'm not gonna say like I just turned over a whole new leaf, but I am gonna say like I just move how I move, and then I'm proud of how I'm moving now. But I can say it's not an easy thing to do. Like it's just not an easy thing to do, because before I got to the mindset that I am in now, I can still say I do it now. Like I hold on to a lot of things. Like I hold on to a lot of stuff. I don't know if that's a Scorpio trait. I don't know if that's just like, I just don't know what that is. But I just know like I hold grudges, and I hold grudges, like I could hold grudges forever. But as I've matured, and like I said, as I'm continuing this journey of learning God and learning his word and learning who he is and what he wants us to be, which is more like him, I'm learning to, you know, like just leaving people be. Like just leaving people be and letting them be who they are. Like if that's their true self, I know that's you, and I know how to move like outside of that being you. You know, if that makes any sense. I don't know. But I'm just like, I don't know, life is so short. life is so short for me to be stressing about what somebody did and stressing about, you know, not receiving the energy or the love that I'm giving out. Not, you know, like just, I don't know. It's just, life is just so short. And I'm just learning me more and learning what I require or what my love language is from certain people or from anybody really. And I know that my love language and what I love from people is like my top thing I can say is probably time, spending time. That's probably my top love language, spending time and words of affirmation. Those are probably my top two. And if I feel like I'm not getting that from that person, then I feel like I just have to, you know, move around. You know, still keep you at a, you know, like I still, what the thing about me is I still do my check-ins. I check in. I, you know, I do like little stuff like that. But I just know how to carry you from here on out. Like I know you're not able to give me the things that I need or the things that I require. And I don't know if that's just them not being emotionally mature to give me the things that I need in return, or if that's just them being selfish, or if that's just like how they were taught, you know, like, or if they've never seen that to, you know, how to move people. And I'm not in the space to teach you how to treat me anymore. Like I'm not trying to teach you, like I'm just not doing it with anybody. Friendships, relationships, you know, like I'm family, like I'm just not in the mood or I'm not in the space to show you how to treat me. And I feel like I've been doing that for years when it comes to, you know, trying to like get people to see, like, I don't know. I just feel like I've been on a journey or I've been on a wave or a path where I've been, you know, having to teach people how to treat me and what I love and what I like. And I feel like people still don't get that, or they get it, or they hear me, but they don't do it. And so it's just like, you know, I see how you move. I see you not on the type of time that I'm on. I see you're not on the, like, you're not able to give me the love that I need. So I have to move on. So that's just, you know, I think that's just what it is and what we have to do. And I feel like especially as women who are, because sometimes I feel like women are so much more emotionally in tune with themselves than men are. And I feel like it's such a struggle. It's such a power struggle trying to figure out, like, or trying to have, like, keep having to show a man how to treat you, or keep having to show a friend how to treat you, or keep having to show a family member how to treat you. Like, it's just, I'm just like, it's too much power in, like, it's too much, it takes too much away from me or you. I feel like it's just, it's tiring. Like, you get tired of having to show people and tell people how to treat you. And so I don't know. I just feel like I'm at a space where I'm just getting back into my bubble, getting back into my shell of like learning me and learning what I require out of a person. Which, as I said, like I know that I love and I acquire, like my love languages are personal, spending time and affirmation. Like I know that that's my top two. So if I know that that's my top two, I have to, you know, pour that into myself more, because you can't like expect that from somebody else and not give it to yourself. And that's also something that I've been struggling with, you know, not pouring into me and, you know, like not taking care of me, not taking care of home. Home is you, you know? So it's just like, I just been having a struggle with that. I just feel like how people show up for you is so important. And I feel like when you lose that, it's just like, what is there left to the relationship? If you're not able to show up for me in the way that I need you to show up for me, whether it is spending time, whether it is like pouring into me affirmation, if you're not able to do those things, then how am I, like, what are we doing? After I've already built myself up and after I've already learned like what I require, then it's what do I require out of somebody else? That's how I'm looking at it. Like, that's the space I'm in. I'm having to start off from scratch. Like I said in a couple episodes back, or last episode, like I'm starting from scratch. Like I'm building a whole new foundation. And in building that whole foundation, I'm on this journey of trying to learn who I am. And so, like, before I was like restarting everything, like I was just basing everything of how somebody treated me. And that how somebody treated me is how I looked at myself. You know, like even me still being the person who moves in love and who shows love, who constantly pours into somebody, I was still like I wasn't doing that for myself. Like, I was making sure somebody else was good and everybody else was okay more than I was checking in on myself. Because you have to do those check-ins on you. You have to do those check-ins. Like, you got, like, those are so mandatory, whether it's a monthly check-in, whether it's a weekly check-in. I feel like it's a daily check-in, honestly, especially for me, with me being so into my emotions and me having this emotional imbalance. I feel like I have to do check-ins, because if I don't, I'm gonna go crazy. I have to do those check-ins. No check-ins look like journaling. It looks like praying. It looks like worshiping. It looks like, maybe spend some time with yourself. Maybe taking yourself out on a date, doing a self-care day, something like that. Anything like that. Those check-ins are so important. Maybe, like, taking yourself out to eat by yourself. Like, that's a whole experience. And I feel like I'm emotionally mature for that level of going out and eating by myself. Because before, I just used to think people that did it was like weird. Well, not weird, but it was just like, I think for me it was like weird, because it's like you just sitting there by yourself and you just eating by yourself. But I feel like that is so important. I feel like that is so important to have that time by yourself and spend that time with yourself. And I admire people who do that, because that's something, like, I can see myself honestly doing it now. Like, I can see myself doing it. And so I just, I'm just restructuring everything and rebuilding everything and start from the ground up. And so with that, I'm just like observing how I want to be treated, because I know how I want to move. I know what God expects of me. I know how I want to, how I want people to look at me. I want people to see God. I want to see God shine so bright through me. Like, that's how I want to move in life. And that's how I want to pour into people. And if I don't have the people to, like, if I don't have, I feel like the people to pour into me, because you can't keep pouring from an empty cup. So I feel like if I don't have that, then, like, I just have to find my own people. It's not like you have to just do away with everybody. Everybody is not the same. Everybody is not going to be, it's not going to always be that bad of an experience. But I just feel like you just have to, I feel like you definitely have to be very cautious of who you surround yourself by and who you are pouring into. So I feel like that's really a thing. And I don't know, man. You just really gotta be selective with you. You have to be very careful with you. Like, you have to be so selective in who you pour into and who you spend your time with. It's just so important, because, like, not everybody is for you. Not everybody is on your wave. Not everybody is gonna be, your person. So you really have to take inventory of people, of your life, period. You really have to do a daily or a weekly inventory of your life. I say do check-ins daily and inventory monthly. Like, that would be my suggestion for anybody. And I'm taking that for myself, because, that's a really important thing to do. And I feel like it's so, as much as people like to say that they don't need anybody and they can go through life by themselves, and although that can be true, and it can also be a journey of just you and God, because it will be seasons where it's just you and God. Like, you won't have nobody around you, just be you and him. And I feel like that is so important to go through. But once that season is over, and I feel like God gives you the tools and the steps and the blinders and the shields of people who not to deal with, and people who, the people who to continue to pour into, I feel like once that whole phase is over, and once that whole phase is over, I feel like it's so important to find your tribe and find your people. Because I don't feel like you can do life by yourself, but I don't feel like I can do life by myself. I don't know if that's a codependency thing. I don't know if that's just me, like, still going through the abandonment thing and feeling like I have to need somebody, but I feel like it is so important to have a community. It is so important to have people to connect with. It's so important to have people to pour into you. I feel like that is so important to have I feel like that is so important. I don't know how much else to explain it, but it needs to be the right people. It has to be the right people. It has to be the right people. But no matter what, no matter how nobody treats you, no matter what you go through, I feel like you should always still move in love. I feel like you should always move with grace. I feel like you should always give people grace, but if they can, I feel like it shouldn't be a repetitive thing, though. Like, I don't feel like you should be, you should tolerate any and everything. You too sacred for that. You too precious for that. I just don't feel like you should endure any and everything. But I do feel like it is important to have a community and to continue to move in love. Like, you don't have to deal with that person. You don't have to always, you know, you don't, like, it don't even have to be anything there. It don't have to be anything there, but you don't need to move with hate in your heart. I just feel like it is so important, because I feel like that blocks a lot of what you have coming for you. I feel like we're supposed to be, it said that we are supposed to be forgiving people. And although I know that it's such a hard thing to do, especially like, because like I said, I hold on to a lot of stuff, and I'm still working on how to let things go. I just feel like it's much more important to my mental that I just, you know, just keep continuing to move in love and continue to move with grace, no matter what anybody's done to me, no matter what situations I've been through, no matter how shitty somebody has been, no matter how shitty somebody is. Like, I just, you know, I'll just continue to move in love. And I was always doing that, even when I was going through the domestic violence. Like, that was still me giving people grace, and, you know, like, still feeling like there was a good person inside of that person, you know, or like the people that I was surrounded by while I was going through those things. I feel like, you know, it was still like, I look at them as like, you know, my people, kind of. But it's just like, I don't know. You never stop being a good person. You just learn how to, you know, maneuver through the bad apples. That's just where I'm at with it. You just learn how to maneuver throughout the, you know, you learn how to maneuver through the bad apples. You know, I also feel like, for me, it was a time where, or I go through times where I feel like I'm always going through something, and I'm expecting people to always show up for me. And I feel like that can be so heavy on somebody, especially like when they feel like you always got something going on, or you always going through something. Like, damn, girl, like, when you got a lot going on, maybe I need to take a step back. And I can see how people will want to take a step back from that person. But what I would just tell you to tell them, you know, just like, maybe you just need a therapist, you know? Like, I feel like a therapist is such a good tool and such a good resource, although it's not for everybody. I feel like some form of therapy, whether it's talking to a therapist or whether it's doing something that helps you get out of those aggressions, whether it's even just something as simple as journaling and you know, like talking to God. You know, whether it's something so simple as that. But I feel like therapy and my new journey in talking to God and learning who He is has helped me so much, because I was in a period in a couple seasons back to back where I feel like I was always the friend, or I was always a family member, or I was always the person that was going through something or had some shit going on. And like, that was like really embarrassing. Like, after you look at it, like, that's really embarrassing. Like, you constantly have to hear like my shit. Like, you constantly have to hear all this stuff I got going on, and that can be so heavy for the other person, because like they could be having their own stuff going on, and they gotta continue to look at, like, they gotta continue to be your ear and listen to all the shit that you got going on, and it's already heavy enough with the shit they got going on, so now you're unloading your shit on top of theirs. That's too much. So that's why it's so important to like have a balance of, like, you know, like have a healthy balance of have a healthy balance in your relationships, period. You pour into them, they pour into you. It shouldn't always be a one-sided thing. It shouldn't always be of a instance where somebody is not showing up, or you're always pouring into somebody and they're not pouring into you, or you always having to hear somebody's bullshit and you can't even get a word in edgewise because they're constantly pouring their stuff onto you. And then when you want to talk about your stuff, they want to throw it back on them, like, oh, I just went through that. Like, I just went through that. Girl, let me tell you about all the stuff I just, you know, like, it's just, that's annoying, honestly. That is really annoying. And that's something I really have to check myself about when it comes to me showing up, like, me expecting people to show up for me, but you are always being the friend that is always going through something. So it's kind of hard to show up for you in that way. So that's something I had to look at too. It's just a lot of, you know, little nicks that I feel like I'm learning about myself that I had to change and rearrange in order to be that person that I wanted somebody to show up for, if that makes sense. It's gonna always be I feel like it's gonna be a never-ending cycle and a never-ending journey. But as long as I'm learning, and as long as I'm using the tools that I'm learning through therapy and through God and the messages that He gives me, I feel like I'll be okay. You know, another thing that I've just started, that just started happening to me as I've been growing closer to God is God gives me names. It's so crazy, but He gives me names. So He puts somebody on my heart and my mind to check in on, or to start talking to, or to build a relationship with, or rapport with. And it's so crazy. It's so crazy how it happens, because it could even be like a situation where I haven't talked to this person in years and gotta put them on my heart to, check in, or like especially if they've done something to me and it's been years, like he'll be like, get over there, because they about to go through something and they gonna need you there for it. They about to go through some turmoil and they gonna need you there for it. So it's like, I'm trying not to get, I don't know why I be getting emotional after talking about God, but it just be so crazy how He works and how He does things, because He knows I've always been a person that moved in love, and the person who messed me over, like He know they're about to go through turmoil, so He knew that they needed me in that moment, in that season. It's so crazy, because He wanted to challenge me to see how I was going to show up for them after they did everything that they did to me. It just blows my mind how He works and how He does things. But I don't know. It's just, I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to be a servant. I'm still learning how to, maneuver through this new phase that I'm in, this new journey that I'm in. Because I want to be a good example for my son, and I want him to, know how to move and know how to, I just want him to move in love, and I just don't want him to be angry or let his circumstances, become him. So I think that's just how I'm just taking everything, So I don't know, but we're learning, we're growing, we're maturing, we're getting this thing together. And I feel like eventually, like, I'm gonna be on a path to where, like, I'm gonna be so unbothered by the bullshit that a hoe couldn't get me. Like, a hoe couldn't touch me on a good, like, on a bad day. A hoe could not touch me, or a man could not touch me in, like, no kind of way. They couldn't move, like, the shit that they say could not move me in no kind of way. That's how unbothered and how untouched I want to be. And I want to still move in love, and I want to still, because that makes them mad. Oh, that pisses them off. But it's just like, I think that just comes with growth, and that comes with, like, that comes with maturity. And I'm still struggling with that. But I feel like I've been doing a very good job of, like, putting people where I need to put them, place them in groups or sections in my life that I need to place them in, because everybody don't need to be here. Everybody does not need to be, where home is. Everybody don't need to know where home is. Everybody don't need to know what your home look like. Everybody can't be in this space. So you got to learn how to put people where they need to be at, Do your check-ins, do whatever you want to do whatever you feel comfortable doing. You don't even have to talk to them. As long as you don't even have to talk to them, for real. I feel like a conversation can be had, or you can just, like, forgive them, like, from within, and, say, you know what, God, like, I ain't need man no more. Like, they got it. I'm good. I just don't want to deal with them no more, but, I'm good. Like, it ain't no bad blood. Like, you can feel, like, you can do that without having to interact with somebody. I feel like that can be a thing. You ain't always gotta be here. Like, it ain't always gotta be rah-rah. It ain't always gotta be that. It ain't always gotta be that energy. How they move ain't gotta determine how you move. Like, that can be a thing. Like, if, like, that was, like, me for a while. Like, you moving like this, I'm gonna move like that too. But, like, that ain't even gotta be that. It ain't even gotta be that. It really ain't even gotta be that. They did what they did, that's cool. Keep them over there. Keep them over there with the other ones. With the others. Keep them with the others. And I think it's also a good thing, because I've learned people have different friendship groups for different reasons. People have different friendship groups for, like, somebody can pour into you in this aspect of your life. Somebody can pour into you in this aspect of your life. That's why I say you can move different people. You can move different people in different places in your life. They don't always have to be a thing. Like if you're married, you have your married group of friends. If you're single, you have your single group of friends. You have your if you're a mom, you have your mom group of friends. If you like to go out every once in a while, you have your go out group of friends. Like you always have that one person that you want to do life with, no matter what transition or what area of your life you're in. Like I had to learn about that too, because I'm a very territorial person, and I don't like for a long time. Like I've struggled with friendships because like I like for my people to be my people. Like I just don't like sharing friendships, and I just felt like my friendships were my end all be all. Like I made them that, and I had to learn through that too. Like it took me a long time to transition. It took like a lot of time to myself. It took a lot of conversations with God. It took a lot of conversations with the friendships. Like it just took a lot of work for me, and I'm just like, girl, that was a thing. Like that was really a thing, and it got really hectic, and it got really crazy for a minute. But it's just like you gotta learn who's here for life and who's here for a moment. Honestly, that's honestly what it boils down to. Who's here for life and who's here for a moment. You keep your for life people close to you. That's where home is. And you keep your you keep your for life people where home is, and you put your for a moment people, where you want to put them at, and you still move in love. You just, you love them from afar, you love them from a distance, and that's just what it is. You still move how you want to move with them, and that's cool. That's fine. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that. As long as you're taking inventory monthly and making sure, like, even those people are people that are deserving to be in your life. Because not everybody deserves a space. Not everybody deserves a space. Like, I don't care who it is. Like, everybody does not deserve access to you. Everybody does not deserve access to you. Like, you should take that into account. Write that down somewhere. Everybody does not deserve access to you. Put it on a prayer board, put it on the mood board, put it on the vision board, put it on something. Everybody does not deserve that. They don't deserve you. Like, for what? For what? Like, as long as you're not moving in hate and moving in with this evil intent, like, everybody does not deserve access to you. You don't gotta be nasty, you don't gotta be rude. Like, everybody just does not deserve that access. They just don't. I feel like it's just, all in all, I just feel like it is so important, especially for me, in how people show up for you. I feel like that is so important because that determines the who's who's. That determines the who's who's, and the for a moment and for a life. Like, that determines the who's who's. That determines who deserves home. Like, that determines who is like who gets to who gets to be in this space. Because the higher you elevate mentally, the higher you gotta elevate the people like with your surroundings as well. That is very important. You gotta be very careful with who you like. You gotta be very careful with who you have around you. You really got to take inventory. It's really important to have people around you that will do the same thing that you would do for them, that will pour into you the same way that you will pour into them. I feel like you got to have the reciprocation. I feel like that is very important. It can't be no one-sided thing. You got to have that reciprocation. I feel like that matters to me. So to answer that journal prompt, like, that really matters to me. Like, how people show up for me, whether it's spending time, and where's the affirmation? I need that. Like, I need that. I love those things. That is important to me. So, just like do your check-ins and do inventory. Do your inventory. Do your inventory, girl. Guy. Do your inventory. That is very important. Because if you're a mom like me, I feel like that's like how you parent is like how your child is and how your child moves growing up. That's a reflection of you. So if I'm showing my child how I move with different people and who I keep in my life and who I surround my life with, he'll take that on. He'll take heed to that. Especially if I'm putting game, like if I'm putting him on to something, like they'll take heed to that. If you putting me on to anything, like I appreciate you forever. Like, and I feel like if vice versa, if somebody else, like I feel like they'll feel the same way. So I don't know. That's just my way of thinking. That's just my way of thinking. I just feel like I feel like it's a requirement for me. Like anybody who wants to be where home is, I feel like it's a requirement for me. Like you gotta show up for me in those ways. Like you gotta show up for me in the way I would show up for you. It's just not like, I don't know, because I used to be the person who would just not say anything, but I would feel it. And those feelings get heavy because if you got multiple people not reciprocating that energy and you just holding it in, you're not saying anything, like that gets heavy. That gets heavy and that gets hectic real quick. Because that one time you say no, it's going to be like they're going to forget all the extras you done said and all the things you done did. So it gets really hectic and it gets really heavy. So I really feel like you got to take inventory. You got to do your check-ins just for your mental state, just for, just for where you're trying to go in life, who you need to keep around. Like, that's just not a success thing. It's not just a success thing. It's not like who you have around you is how successful you'll be. Like, that's not just for that. That's for your mental health. Like, that's for your mental being. At the end of the day, you gotta be okay. So to have people that don't show up for you, that's hurtful. That's hurtful. And to feel like you're a burden or to feel like your shit is so heavy for somebody, like that is hurtful. For them to make you feel like, you a lot. Like you can be a lot to deal with. But I feel like when we use these resources, just like therapy or community outreaches or, Facebook groups, like if we have those things or friendships, like whatever, God, like I feel like those are good tools to, have. So you're just not putting everything on your friendships or relationships or, things like that. Just so it doesn't get that bad. Because I know you probably want to keep these people around, but it's just, a lot of things is occurring. So to keep that down to a minimum, you gotta do your check-ins. So you're not being too much for somebody else, and you're able to pour into them the way they need to be poured into. So I hope that made sense. Because ultimately, our friendships, although we've for centuries and for years we've treated them like they were therapists, and although that's we're supposed to talk to our friends, we're supposed to be able to do that, but they are ultimately not therapists, and your shit can be just too much for them. So you're not able to give them what they need, and then you have to check in. You gonna have to do a check, you have to check on yourself. You gonna have to check yourself on that, because you're not showing up. You're not showing up for that person in the way that they need you to. So it's not just a one-sided thing. It's not just you're not a victim all the time. It's not just a one-sided thing. You gotta check yourself too. I know I'm stuttering, a lot, but I just gotta get this thing across. I just gotta get it out, and I gotta get my point across. But I just wanted to have a little chit chat about that. I think it's a lot of stuff that I missed that I needed to say, and I probably will say in probably another episode, but I couldn't get it out in this episode. But do your daily check-ins and your monthly inventories. That's all I can say, because a person like me who's so in tune with their emotions, I get sensitive about any little thing. But I've been doing good lately. I've been doing really good. But I get really sensitive if somebody's not showing up for me in the way that I need them to. I really take that to heart, and I'm learning not to allow people, like, knowing that people are who they are and they will always be who they will be, and, you know, keeping them at a distance and not, you know, letting them in my space, and, you know, just keep that, you know, I don't know, but I'm just working on it. I'm really working on it. But as we close this episode out, you know, we always do advice on finding her way. In this episode, my advice would be, as a person who is still learning their spiritual journey, who is still learning how to be a servant, who is still learning what I require as a person for myself, and as a person who is trying to think of, you know, like, how I need to move in this life, I think it is a good idea and a good thing to still move in love. I think we should all move in love, because, like, it's just, life is so short, and if you feel like it's an energy that you don't want around you, then don't have the energy around you. Keep them at a distance, but still, like, don't be rude, don't be nasty. Like I said, don't be nasty, and you don't gotta be nasty. Like, everything doesn't have to be like a thing. Everything doesn't have to be, you know, a big blowout. It doesn't always have to be that. Just move in love. Like, go where you're loved and not tolerated. That's what I would say. Go where you're loved and not tolerated. Because when you go where you're being tolerated, it's just like you get those feelings of, like, somebody isn't like you. It's just a one-sided relationship, and you don't deserve that. You don't deserve that. So that is all for this episode. I hope you all got what I was trying to say. I hope it wasn't jumbled. I hope it was, you know, clear, and I hope you got something out of this. I will see you guys in the next episode. Like, comment, share, rate us on Spotify. Do your thing. Do your big one. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. I hope you enjoyed and took at least one thing, if any, from this. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share us with a friend you know. Follow us on Instagram at Finding Her Way Pod, and send us letters or questions to askfhw@gmail.com. We hope to hear from you in the next episode.